Good evening, everyone. I'm meteorologist Cassie Knoll, and this is your 10 weather impact recap for the week. Let's start by taking a look at your top 3 weather stories from across the country. First, it's officially ski season in Colorado. Last week, Wolf Creek ski area opened for the season. Known as the Centennial State's snowiest ski area, Wolf Creek is located in the San Juan Mountains along the Continental Divide in southern Colorado. More than 24 inches of snow fell in the area from October 17th to 20th thanks to an early season storm. The ski area opened 3 chairlifts and 40% of its total terrain on October 22nd. Number 2. Forest fire crews are battling wildfires in New Jersey. As of Sunday, the New Jersey Fire Service achieved 90% containment of a nearly 200-acre fire burning in Essex County. No structures were threatened and no evacuations were ordered. The fire danger remains high in New Jersey as warm and dry conditions continue across the region. And number 3, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, or NOAA, has added 3 new hurricanes and 1 tornado outbreak to the 2024 billion-dollar weather and climate disaster total. That includes Hurricanes Debbie, Helene, and Milton. The year-to-date total through mid-October stands at 24 events. That is second only to $27 billion events reported at this time last year in 2023. Hurricane Helene was the strongest hurricane on record to strike the Big Bend region of Florida and caused widespread devastation in southern Appalachia. It's also the deadliest Atlantic hurricane since Maria in 2017 and the deadliest to strike the U.S. mainland since Katrina in 2005. North Carolina Governor Ray Cooper says Helene caused more than $50 billion in damages. The total cost is $53 billion, triple the $17 billion in damage done by Hurricane Florence in 2018. State lawmakers are expected to debate another disaster relief bill.
So we've got a pretty good idea of what the needs will be, and that's $53 billion. We've done this based on estimates and formulas that we've used in the past that've been pretty accurate. And we believe that if we jumpstart funding now on many of these areas, that will lead to a faster and stronger recovery.
The governor is recommending the state spends $3.9 billion as a down payment on the future of Western North Carolina. That's because he knows there are costs neither insurance companies nor the federal government will cover. Officials in Western North Carolina say fewer people were killed by Helene than first thought. Last week, the State Department of Health and Human Services reported 42 fatalities in Buncombe County. That's where Asheville is located. That number is lower than an additional estimate of 72 deaths. The number of people killed in all of North Carolina is now 96. However, that number could still change. Now let's take a look at this. It's a view from our Gatlinburg camera. The tree canopy of many colors is growing in the high country, and of course, that's going to bring tourism and money to East Tennessee. Let's look at the current fall conditions here in East Tennessee. We are seeing near or peak colors in our highest elevations up on the plateau, southeast Kentucky, and all the way up into the rest of southern Appalachia into West Virginia and Virginia. But I wanted to kind of widen out this map a little bit to show you that we've got medium color already showing up as far south as the Atlanta area down near Birmingham and Alabama. So we're really starting to see those fall colors spread out throughout the southeast, and particularly here in East Tennessee. As I mentioned, we've got that peak foliage now happening on the northern plateau in upper East Tennessee, southeast Kentucky, and southwest Virginia. So you need to get out and see the leaves now, because at this time next week we are forecast to be past peak color in all the areas that you see shaded in black and at peak color for the rest of the valley from Knoxville southward down toward the Athens area. Please share your photos with us. We love seeing them on our social media pages. And of course, we have a lot of people coming in from out of town to see these colors too. 10 News reporter Olivia Daig spoke to tourists in Cades Cove about their journey to see the signature fall views in the Smokies.
One of the most coveted places for leaf peepers nationwide is right here in the Great Smoky Mountains National Park. I spoke to several visitors to see just how far they've traveled to get a glimpse at these views.
Traveled about 660 miles.
Ken and Fran Weller from Stanton, Michigan are visiting the Smokies for the very first time, celebrating 53 years of wedded bliss.
It's special spots to see the great beauty that God has.
And the colors are just breathtaking. It's just every color you can imagine. The reds, the burgundies, the yellows, the oranges. It's just beautiful.
And they're not the only ones who've made a trek to see views like this. These ladies decided they needed a change of scenery from their Mississippi homes.
And we've just been riding around looking at all the pretty views and the leaves and the pretty trees and the mountains.
Fall in the Smokies might be the best time to play the license plate game. The park estimates 1 million people or more will visit in October. So you'll find people from New England to the Plains.
7.5 hours from Stillwater to Memphis, and then another 7.5 hours to here. More. So it's like 15 total.
For the Rathmans, the drive was well worth it.
There's so much green and color, and it feels like there's seasons here versus Oklahoma. It's just like, you know, one day you have leaves and the next day like everything's dead.
These out-of-towners say these colors are just something you've got to see to believe. Now, these beautiful fall colors will not stick around for too long. There's still time to come see them. Just understand, if you do make your way out here, lots of other people are trying to see these beautiful sights as well. Reporting from the Great Smoky Mountains National Park, I'm Olivia Daig.
And I talked to Olivia after she went out to shoot that story, and she's just said the camera just doesn't capture the brilliance of the colors. You really just have to see it in person. And for businesses in the mountains, fall colors means lots of green. October is typically second only to July in terms of tourism for Pigeon Forge. The town, with roughly 6,000 locals, recorded almost $235 million in revenue for October of last year. Just over the state line, take a look at this. It's an aerial view of the mountains in western North Carolina. You can see how Helene's winds damaged the south-facing side of the mountain, knocking down trees, stripping them of their leaves, and leaving trails of mudslides. Yet just on the other side of the ridge, look at that beautiful color. The trees are intact, and they seem extra vibrant this year. Officials in North Carolina do want you to come visit in the areas that are open. My gosh, that is a beautiful view. And as of last week, one of those areas is part of the Blue Ridge Parkway. It's open from milepost 285.5 to milepost 305 near Beacon Heights. That's in Blowing Rock. This is the first section of the parkway to reopen in North Carolina since Helene. On the Virginia side, the parkway is open from milepost 0 to milepost 305. Officials say you should expect traffic delays, so please be patient, and also support local shops, businesses, and restaurants that are open. Now, many hotels and lodging properties are assisting displaced families and workers, so make sure you call ahead and plan ahead when making a trip to those areas. Now, because of warmer fall nights, we did see a delay in the start of leaf color. According to Climate Central analysis, fall nights have warmed in 212 U.S. locations. It's warmed by an average of 2.5 degrees Fahrenheit, and higher October temperatures were also linked with later leaf fall. Climate Central says fall warming is widespread across the U.S., but most intense in the southeast. So let's take a look at some of the factors that can affect leaf fall. So this is not the coloring, but actually when they fall off the trees. Leaves can fall earlier when the trees have had a lot of drought and heat stress. We noticed that coming out of the summer and into September. Some of our leaves started to turn brown and fall off very, very early in the season. And we also had some damage, of course, from Helene. Now, you get later leaf fall when you have the warmer fall nights, warmer Octobers, and lower wind speeds. So that's actually keeping the leaves on the trees for longer now that we had that one stretch of cool temperatures last week here in East Tennessee, and that's part of what helped to trigger our leaves to start to turn. Now, the temperature at night is part of what determines how vibrant the leaf color is. Warm nights bring you more of a dull color versus cooler nights enhance the color and kind of act like a refrigerator, keeping those leaves extra bright and on the trees for longer as well. Now, we talked about how in the southeast we've seen a gradual rise in overnight lows average across the fall season, and in Knoxville we're no exception. But our temperature rise has only been about 1 degree to 1.5 degrees, so not quite as extreme as what the rest of the southeast has been seeing as far as that warming trend over the last, since 1970, I should say, so in about the last 50 years. Now, we have just one more month left of meteorological fall, so let's take a look at what we can expect as we move into the month of November. So meteorological fall is defined as the 3 months of September, October, and November. And during the month of November, our average highs go from 66 down to 55. You see quite a sharp drop off there. That's because of daylight hours shortening dramatically. And as far as rainfall goes, October is typically our driest month of the year. And so is the first half of November. A lot of that total that you see right there during the month of November is backloaded. It's on the back half of the month as we move into our typical wet season, which is winter into spring. So that's something we have to look forward to as we go into the month of November. And as far as the temperature outlook from the Climate Prediction Center, they do show some confidence that overall for the month of November, we will generally be a little bit above average. But remember, this is the time of year as we're transitioning from the warm season to the cool season, where we tend to have lots of ups, but also some downs mixed in there as well. So you can still expect some cold weather now and then through the month of November. And precipitation-wise, looks drier than average for the lower Mississippi River Valley, but here in East Tennessee, we're looking for equal chances of above or below average precipitation, meaning we'll just have to watch as we go along. And just a reminder, this Sunday we will fall back when we move from daylight saving time into standard time, meaning that we will turn our clocks back 1 hour Sunday morning at 2 a.m. The good news, we get an extra hour's sleep. The other news, sunrises and sunsets will also be an hour earlier. In 2019, Tennessee Governor Bill Lee signed a law that would make daylight saving time the year-round standard across Tennessee. But that won't happen unless something changes on the national level. In order for that law to take effect, U.S. Congress must pass a law allowing states to observe year-round daylight saving time, and that hasn't happened yet. Also, we'd like to remind you twice a year when we change our clocks to also change the batteries in your smoke detectors, carbon monoxide detectors, and your NOAA weather radios. And let's take a look at that 7-day forecast to see how things are shaping up. We've got Halloween on Wednesday, maybe a chance for some showers coming in overnight Thursday night. I think that should hold off until after the trick-or-treating festivities are done. And this is also going to be a warm and breezy Halloween for the trick-or-treaters as well. Probably the warmest we've had since about 2016. We could see some showers during the first half of the day on Friday as a cold front moves through the region. That'll knock our temperatures down into the upper 60s, but that's still above average for this time of year. Weather looks beautiful for the Tennessee game on Saturday, and then remember, we fall back at 2 a.m. on Sunday. Going into next week, we see a gradual warming trend, temperatures still staying about 10 degrees above average, and Election Day is on Tuesday. Make sure you vote. Thanks for watching, and remember, you can always get the latest forecast with the 10 News app. It's free to download in the App Store.